Hello and welcome to our first ever Zoholics at Home. My name is Taylor Backman, a senior evangelist here at Zoho, and I'll be your host today. Today we're going to talk about where Zoho is heading as a company, the vision guiding Zoho's product development, and hear from some awesome Zoho customers. Normally, you'd have to fly out to Austin, Texas for a Zoholics experience, but today we're bringing Zoholics straight to you, right in the comfort of your home. And while the live music and the barbecue might be better in Austin than wherever you're joining from, we hope that you're in a comfy spot, maybe with your cat on your lap or your dog by your feet, sending those wonderful and friendly vibes that are always so present at Zoho events and make them so special. In addition to the speakers and panelists that we have for you today, we also have a few attendees sitting in what we're calling our front row who will be joining us for questions and comments as we go through the event. So we're going to go ahead and bring them out right now just to say hi. That is going to be Anita, David, and Marcus. So let's bring them out real quick. Hey, everybody, how is it going? Going good. Let's get a big thumbs up if you're excited for today.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, great. Well, we'll say goodbye to you now, and we'll bring you back a bit later. So, of course, you're also welcome to join the conversation and submit comments and questions through the chat on YouTube or through social media with the hashtag Zoholics at Home. So please do that. Submit your questions, submit your comments, and we'll show those on screen as well as we go forward. So for our first segment, we have Sridhar Vembu, the co-founder and CEO of Zoho, who will be giving an update on the company vision. Sridhar joins us from a small village in South India where he's been living the last 18 months. So go ahead and take it away, Sridhar.
Thank you, Taylor. And I want to welcome all of you to our first ever Zoholics at Home. I hope to see all of you, most of you, in person in a future event, because as much as I like working from home, I really miss all those times we used to meet in Pleasanton and in Austin and around the world in so many places. So, and with the travel restrictions, all that is the best we can do at this time. And this is the fitting theme for the what I'm going to talk about today. There's three major themes I'm going to talk about. First, where the product and technology are heading in this. And clearly, the pandemic itself has accelerated cloud adoption, and we have seen massive growth in the last 18 months. Growth accelerated for us after initial disruption about 3-4 months, and of course, particularly remote work tools, including our Zoho Click and Meeting, and all of that have done really well. And of course, also our from CRM platform, Zoho One, all of it. And what we are seeing broadly is more and more the Zoho One and CRM Plus, all of them evolving as platforms. And that's the direction we are heading, so that the software is exactly fit to your needs, to your business, and as it evolves during these really unique times, I should say, for us globally. And we have products ranging from Creator and Flow and Sigma and Analytics. And on one end of the spectrum, the low code, no code platforms that augment our products. And we have the Catalyst platform as a service offering on the other end of the spectrum, that is a full pro code platform. And we are deepening that as well. And all these are now really deepening the Zoho suite and broadening it in significant directions that you now have. For example, we launched our new Zoho One with built-in dashboards for all your data that comes powered by our analytics platform. And all of these capabilities are growing both deeper month after month after month, every quarter, and also we are broadening the suite. And this is where, this is the evolution of Zoho, and it's the evolution of remote work itself. Just like essentially all of you in this, we have now most of our employees still work from home, and in India, our offices have been open for some time, but with an optional, whoever wants to come can come in. And I would say our employees are about evenly divided on that question. About 50% actually want to come to an office regularly, and about 50% like the work from home arrangement, I would say. And so longer term, this is the divide we see, and how to balance this is going to be the critical challenge facing us and so many of you out there. And this also, our product suite reflects the power of our long-term R&D investment. And you have seen that in some significant areas. And I'll first, by way of contrast, I'll tell you, we have Zoho Click, which has evolved really rapidly as a chat platform, and now it's one of our fastest growing products right now. And yet, we saw Salesforce pay more than $27 billion for Slack because they did not have that chat capability. And oops, when you have the acquired chat capability, but they don't have enough audio-visual capabilities, guess what? We have Zoho Meeting, and our Click itself has excellent audio-visual capabilities now, and including rapidly evolving video conferencing. And the same way, you all know how powerful Zoho Analytics is, and with all the natural language queries and all of that. And yet, if you look at when you don't invest in R&D, you have to go and acquire, and Salesforce acquired Tableau last year, and then suddenly realized just about a week ago that they don't have enough natural language query capabilities, which is something that comes from deep R&D, that you invest in AI capabilities, because that's how you understand natural language. And that's how we power our natural language capabilities through our Zia AI framework. And that is powering analytics. And analytics is providing the dashboards and the natural language query capabilities across the Zoho suite. And this, again, they have to go and acquire another company to do this, to fill that gap in Tableau software, which they paid over $15 billion for. So this is the contrast of really not competing companies here, competing worldviews, competing philosophies. We invest in very long-term R&D for the long haul, and that shows up in a steady drumbeat of product improvements and product capabilities and platform capabilities. I mentioned Creator, and Creator is now 16 years and it's growing as a product. It's really mature now, and we are seeing a much more rapid adoption now, particularly during the pandemic. And the same thing with now Meeting is growing rapidly. All of these came through our investment in R&D. And that brings me to a topic of what are the challenges that we face in our industry. And you all know this, inflation and rapid employee turnover, attrition, of course, and of course all the supply chain challenges that so many of you have faced. We have faced some of that, because to procure, for example, laptops and phones and servers for our data centers, all of these have been challenging. For example, servers now require 3 months lead time now. And you cannot just buy servers and fit in your data center. You need 3 months lead time. So that is the challenge today. And in that standpoint, I actually saw this tweet from the CEO of Flexport, which is a supply chain logistics company, and it talks about how almost nobody has any employee loyalty because they haven't been willing to take care of the people through thick and thin of business, and thus they can't staff up quickly to meet surging demand. All businesses now complain about employee loyalty, but have we earned it? This is a topic, if you have been in Zoholics before and talked about numerous times, that we cannot ask employees to be loyal unless the company demonstrated that loyalty first. And I am happy to report that Zoho has actually kept the vast majority of our employees, and we have had the lowest attrition in the industry during all this time, in spite of the fact that the job market is absolutely crazy, where some of our employees report getting offers of twice their present pay. That's the kind of hot job market that we have faced, particularly in the cloud, because cloud capabilities are so much in short supply. And yet, because we have stood by our employees through thick and thin, vast majority of our employees say have decided to stand by us. This is a lesson that I think it's worth emphasizing. The key to face challenges is to create these relationships and be loyal to our employees, loyal to our customers. That is how we face this together. Last year, we demonstrated that with our ESAP for subscription assistance program for our customers. And a lot of customers who, initially some customers actually said they took it for 3 months, but then came back and said our revenue wasn't impacted as much as we thought, and came back and restarted their subscriptions. So there was that mutual trust so much, and I was very happy to see that level of thing. And our revenues actually quickly not only came back from the initial dip and then started growing rapidly. So that was what we saw in this, and that is again, customers reciprocated the loyalty we demonstrated. And this brings to the broader issue we face, the bubble itself. That's the root cause of all of these: the inflation, the supply chain shortages. All of this is unleashed by monetary policy. It's unleashed massive bubbles, and this is this is another tweet from Brian Peterson. I wanted to share this because these really speak to the current issues we face. Modern finance has removed the shock absorbers from the economy. For the long run, in our complex, dynamic power law world, the reference assets will be those companies, winners willing to challenge the dogma of modern finance. This again, I have actually talked for a long time about financialization, that we have created a extremely finance-driven world, and we put spreadsheets and numbers ahead of employees' well-being, and that is very detrimental. And in these times, that's we are seeing a real-time demonstration of that. And the only way to dig ourselves out of it is to go back to those tried and just timeless values. And that is about the bubble itself. And we face, how do we cope with this crazy times? And we have, as most of you know, I live in a small village in southern India, a population about 1,500 people, which is actually tiny by Indian standards. And my neighbors, none of them actually know Zoho, right? These are all agricultural workers. And so I started a school for our workers' children. So I'm keeping myself sane during these times. Community that I am from these parts, and so I've gone back to my roots. And that is what we have made it a philosophy now. We call it transnational localism. And the idea is to be rooted and connected. So we want our employees to be rooted to their communities and yet connected globally using these platforms. And our own platform is built to connect up all our employees so that we can share our thoughts and work together. So that is how we have our evolution during this pandemic. And we'll see that in action. Before the pandemic, we had maybe about 18 or 20 offices. Travis, please put up that slide. And in the last, those red dots were offices pre-pandemic. And then go to the next one, please. And you will see just a rapid this thing. We have more than doubled our office count, local presence. Now we are present physically in over 25 countries, and that is expanding rapidly. And everywhere we are putting down these smaller offices. And part of the motivation is to get closer to customers. Ironically, we are a cloud company. We are in the cloud, but we want to be there with you to serve you locally, much more locally. That's the localism in action. So transnational part is the connected part. Localism is the rooted part. So we call it rooted and connected. That is the philosophy that we have followed. And so we are investing in these offices everywhere right now. And so that is how we are staying grounded in these times. And there's just one more thing. Travis, can you put up that my tweet that I recently sent out? Yeah, this is why we stay a private company. And in these times of hyperinflated valuations, where you are recorded 50 times, maybe 100 times revenue, not just 100 times profit. That's really puts a lot of pressure on the CEO, the management team, on all our employees, really. Because we put ourselves on a treadmill where we miss earnings by a penny, the stock could crash 20%. And then all of the pressure that goes on. That's why we have chosen to remain private. And I'm actually deeply thankful that we are able to remain private during these times, because that keeps me at peace. And I mentioned those platform R&D capabilities. I myself work on some deep R&D technologies. And if even today, like 2 hours ago, I was actually reading code. So I'm truly fortunate to be able to do this, because I don't have to worry about Wall Street on my back. And so I can focus on code, technology, serving customers, and rather than the earnings, the next quarter earnings, and how we are going to meet them. So that has been the journey, and we are going to continue this. And we will, I promise, we are opening these offices because we intend to stay, and we will stay rooted and we will serve you. And I'll end with a joke. MailChimp is a company we really respected. I'm really sorry they sold, and we won't pull a MailChimp on you. That's something that I assure all of you, our customers. And we will invest in these products, invest in R&D. And in fact, our next event will be on our own platform. We are working on a really good platform to do this streaming all throughout. So you will see this. And in fact, I had a call with our engineers yesterday on this platform capabilities for streaming globally. So these are some of the updates from me, and I will be happy to take some questions. Thank you for being here today with us. And hopefully next year, I hope to see all of you in various events around the world. Thank you, and namaskar.
Thank you, Sridhar, for that talk. So let's go ahead and bring in our front row for a couple of questions. That's going to be Anita and David. We'll have them come back out again. So we'll have Anita go first. If you can introduce yourself and ask your question, that'd be great.
Sure. And thank you for having me. And Sridhar, thank you for that wonderful, inspiring talk. My name's Anita Campbell, and I am the founder of Small Business Trends Media. As you may know, Sridhar, we are both a user of Zoho One and really love it, but we also write a lot about Zoho One for our small business audience. And I can tell you there's a lot of interest out there. There's tremendous excitement over it. Now, Zoho One has, I've lost count of how many apps, almost 50, if not more at this point. And it might seem like, you offer everything today, but you mentioned earlier that you're going deeper into the app, expanding the functionality, but you're also broadening things. Could you tell us, what are small businesses asking for when it comes to Zoho One? Any particular functions or apps that you do not have today? And the second part of that question is, what do you plan to do about it?
Yeah, it's a good one, really good one, Rita. And thank you for your thank you for also educating the broader small business audience about the one. So what we hear a lot is, of course, a lot more integration, pre-built integration, and that's something that we are investing in, and that's expanding. And of course, our commerce capabilities now, Zoho Commerce is now included in the Zoho One, and so we are expanding that as well, because the commerce capabilities, along with all of the from CRM to books, all of that is essential as well. So that is something that we are investing in, that part of it. And so these are the big ones, and of course, the remote work suite itself. And we are, about a year and a half ago, our remote work capabilities were good, but we still needed a lot more AV capabilities. Now we have actually caught up, and we will see a lot more on that as well. So that is, those are the big ones. Yeah. And the no-code platform, right? I mentioned create a low-code, and the no-code part of it is also evolving rapidly. So absolutely no code required, and you can get a lot done, custom apps for your business.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much, Anita, for that question. And now I'll have David go, if you can introduce yourself and ask your question.
Certainly, yeah. My name is David Fauser, and I represent Simcoe Refrigeration. I'm the director of sales. And on the other end of the spectrum, we're a large company. We have about 150 salespeople that use Zoho every single day, and it's sort of the lifeblood of our business. And unlike Zoho, we're a public company, so I know what it's like to to be. So sometimes I'm up at night thinking about how are we going to get to where we need to go. But I'm curious, though. I mean, you mentioned that you can sleep well at night, but as a CEO of Zoho, like what actually keeps you up at night if it's not that?
Yeah, it's really a lot of other challenges from, for example, security threats, the evolving security landscape online. That's something that we always worry about. That's if there's something that's something that I personally, the security team reports to me directly. So I get to hear everything first on this. Any threat they see, anything that they inform me. So that's one thing that keeps me awake at night. And also, I'm worried about the whole bubble and its implications. See, the pandemic has exposed a lot of the lack of resilience in our supply chains and all of this. That we have concentrated production in few locations around the world. And if there's a flood somewhere in one place, a lot of things go away and all this. How are we going to evolve from this to a much more resilient model? And nobody has figured this out. That's something that that worries me. So these are some of the challenges that I see. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Those were great questions. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up for now and say goodbye to our great question askers, Anita and David. And we're also going to say goodbye to Sridhar for now. Sridhar is going to be coming back later on in the stream toward the end to say a few more words. So we'll go ahead and move on to our next speaker. Next up, we have Raju Vegesna, who is the Zoho Chief Evangelist, and he'll be talking about the vision guiding Zoho's product development. Raju joins us from Austin, and we're glad to have him. So take it away, Raju.
Thanks, Taylor, and thank you, everyone. Good to be here at Zoholics, albeit online. But as Sridhar mentioned, I would love to see most of you in an in-person event, hopefully sooner. So it's been 25 years since we started the Zoho journey, and the Zoho.com and the products certainly started with a grand vision of offering all the applications and technologies a business needs. And we defined that when we had about 10 different products. But fast forward to today, we have about 50 plus applications serving customers worldwide. We currently serve over 500,000 customers globally across 180 countries. And would like to thank, on behalf of the entire Zoho team, thank all the customers who have been behind us and who've been supporting us and going through this journey together. So I'd like to thank everyone on that front. In this session, I want to talk about a few aspects of the vision. Certainly, the broader vision remains intact, where we want to be the technology platform for the entire business, for your entire business. But I want to delve a little bit deeper into maybe two or three aspects of that. First, talk about a unified platform for businesses delivering experiences. What do I mean by that? Now, if you look at any business, it revolves around employees, customers, of course, partners, suppliers, and so on. And every business tries to deliver the best experience possible to each of these entities. So you want to deliver the best customer experience possible to your customers, and we try to do the same. And same goes for employees as well. But to deliver a seamless customer experience, you need to have systems that support this. So in order for you to deliver those experiences, if the underlying systems are siloed, the experience itself is going to be siloed. So to that end, we actually developed several applications and platforms that enable you to develop these various platforms. For example, we have CRM Plus, which is our customer experience platform out there, one of the most comprehensive, customer experience platforms in the market. And that combined with our employee experience platform in People Plus, again, on the employee experience side of things, this is one of the best platforms out in the market. That combined with operational platforms and finance platforms in Finance Plus, and a powerful collaboration suite in Workplace. All of these, and there are more, are really built to deliver these unified, unique experiences across channels. And that's part of the broader portfolio of applications and platforms, as well as technologies we want to offer to businesses. And we certainly believe the best way to do that is to invest in R&D, as Sridhar highlighted, and build them ground up. Because we do not believe you can build these unified systems by duct taping acquired solutions together. We believe in doing it, in-house and doing the real R&D. And that is the reason, often we say we are a technology company selling products, not a sales company selling software. And there's a difference here because majority of our investment goes towards R&D and not really selling it to you, the customer. That really means, whatever investment on whatever payment you make is going towards improving the products. And as a result of that, what happens when you invest a lot of revenue into R&D? Well, you see good number of products. The result is what you see on our website with 50 plus products out there. And this is an important aspect. And it's not just the products that we develop. It's the underlying technology and the entire technical technology stack we develop that is important. So today we own our technology stack. And that is what enables us to build all the products that we offer today. A technology company doesn't make their technology stack is like a car company that doesn't make their own engine, because this technology stack is the engine of various products and technologies we create. So we continue to invest in this R&D, as Sridhar mentioned, And the result is what you see with our 50 plus applications and several experience platforms we launch and whatnot. And as Sridhar pointed out, a couple of examples that showcase the depth in the technology investment. I want to talk about a couple of apps or services, analytics and search. Let's start with analytics. Analytics is an excellent product, and that spans across the Zoho platforms. It will allow you get insights about your business end to end, across your front office, back office, collaboration, your operations and whatnot. And analytics pulls information across the business and shares that with you with relevant insights derived. And this has been a 10 plus year journey, and this required a long-term R&D effort. And not just integrating the Zoho applications, but also various third-party applications, because several businesses do have several third-party applications out there. So, and on top of it, our other investments in AI and NLP, natural language processing, are embedded in there, where we introduced something called Ask Zia a few years back, where you can now ask Zia something like, hey, what's my revenue per employee? It'll get the revenue information either from your CRM system or maybe projected revenue from your CRM system, and get that information and provide a chart for that. Now we are extending that a little further with Zia Conversations, where you can now converse with Zia. You can not only request a revenue per employee, but you can have a continued discussion with Zia by asking, hey, what's the revenue per employee for this product group or for this particular region or a country? That conversational Zia, again, comes through a lot of effort and a lot of R&D in there, which we continue to invest in. So analytics is a good example of some of the investments we have made in technology. Another good example of investment we have made is Zia Search. In the context of enterprise, search is often underestimated, and enterprises pay thousands of dollars every month just to get a good search. And Zia Search, again, another 10 plus year R&D project, is one of the most powerful and a comprehensive search platform in the market. Whether you're searching your front office systems or a back office system, collaboration system, third-party systems, and whatnot, Zia Search is an extremely powerful system. If you haven't tried it, I recommend you to give it a try at search.zoho.com. And typically, businesses pay thousands of dollars, but in this case, we are including it for free as part of the Zoho service. And if you look at search, and if you look at our investment in our NLP, we were talking about in the context of analytics, now we are merging the two. We are bringing in the same NLP and AI investment that we made in analytics. We are bringing that to search too. So take a simple example. Let's say you want to find the documents or some agreements you may have signed with a customer. Today, the problem is that information is scattered across various siloed systems. Some information or some of these documents may exist in your document management system. Some may exist in your CRM system. Maybe some may be stuck in your email, or some in your digital signature application. Can a simple query like, hey, get me all the documents I've signed with this particular customer, can search do the job for you and pull all of that? And that is what it enables us to do. That is where our investments in each of these technologies give us. So, search and analytics are two good examples of our investment in long-term R&D, but there are significant such examples within Zoho ecosystem where we continue to invest in R&D, build the products as well as platforms to provide a good unified experience so that you can offer that same experience to your customers. That's the first part of the vision I want to talk about. Now, moving to the next part, in the same lines, but in the context of collaboration, because enabling business collaboration in this new world we have entered, right? Because if there is one thing we have learned during the pandemic, or if there's one thing that came to the limelight, it is the importance of digital collaboration tools in the context of a business. And historically, collaboration applications have been ignored and considered a silo. And the reality is, a large percentage of business information is present within a collaboration application. And there are by some estimates, 40% of information is trapped inside an email, and that is likely true. Yet, collaboration is considered a separate silo, and that at Zoho we never saw it that way. We always believe collaboration and business applications go hand in hand, and they are equally important. And the proof of that can be seen in our portfolio of collaboration applications. If you look at just our communication apps, we have email, chat, audio conferencing, video conferencing, web conferencing, the entire unified stack available and integrated well with each other. And of course, there are other collaboration applications like private social network and project management and on and on. Not to mention several other productivity tools like an Office suite, word processor, spreadsheet, and note taking, and digital signatures and whatnot. And of course, document management and various other tools. So we have one of the most comprehensive collaboration applications out in the market. And that is about 20 different applications in the market. But what makes us different is how we view things. Because there are improvements that we are making to the existing systems, like Sridhar mentioned. Click and meeting took a major leap during the pandemic, and we continue to enable use cases. But when you combine some of these collaboration tools with our business tools, and if you don't see those as silos and see them as part of solving a problem, it enables good use cases. A good example is one of the tools we're introducing is Zoho Voice. Zoho Voice is a telephony system for your businesses. We internally use a Click for all our telephony systems. I mean, I personally don't remember making a phone call to any of our colleagues in the last couple of years. All my conversations with all my colleagues worldwide happen through Click. But there are cases where you have to publish a phone number and you need a telephony system. Well, in such cases, Zoho Voice has you covered. It's a comprehensive system that joins our portfolio of collaboration and communication applications out there. And that's a good addition to Zoho. Again, it will be integrated, and it is being integrated into several of business applications like CRM, like Desk, and whatnot. And this is where a marriage between a collaboration application and a business application will come into play. That's one. Another application that we recently introduced is called Zoho Lens. Zoho Lens enables remote collaboration in a slightly different way. You're on the field and you're trying to fix something, you need some remote help. Can you work with someone that is remote and solve the problem together? Zoho Lens is like remote eyes. Whether you're a doctor trying to diagnose a patient, or whether you're a realtor trying to show the property to your client, Zoho Lens offers that remote eyes to your business. But here is a business use case where you're interacting with a customer using a collaboration application like Lens that pulls business and collaboration applications together to help that. Again, this application like Lens significantly strengthens our portfolio of applications. Another new application we recently introduced is called Zoho Learn. Keeping employees is becoming challenging during the pandemic, and employee training plays a critical role in there. So there is a need for a tool for learning management. And Zoho Learn is that, a learning management system for businesses where you can let employees learn and be up to date on whatever topics you want them to. Again, a new addition to Zoho on that front. Interestingly, if you see all of these tools, they they are at the boundaries, or they kind of are in between a business application and a collaboration application. Something like Learn, does it fall into a HR application, or does it fall under the collaboration bucket? It's actually at the intersection. So all of this is possible due to our investment in broad set of technologies, investment in deep set of technologies. And now we are able to mix and match various aspects of this. And in fact, another good example of this is one of our upcoming applications. We're calling it Zoho Contracts. It's a contract management application. If you ask your legal team, they'll tell you the number of back and forths they go through before a contract is signed. And negotiating a contract requires a communication thing, and updating a contract requires a productivity tool like a word processor, and signing a contract requires a digital signature tool. And Zoho, we do all of these. We have a strong set of collaboration tools and communication tools. We have a strong set of productivity app in Zoho Writer, excuse me. And of course, we have a digital signature tool. And now when you combine all of these, that makes Zoho Contracts one of the most comprehensive contract management tools out there. You'll hear more about it moving forward, but that's another addition to this. Now, if you look at all of these are all various collaboration and productivity applications out there. And if you look at the entire portfolio, we can confidently say that we have the best collaboration, communication, productivity application portfolios in the market, period. And this combined with the business applications takes it to another level. Now, the reality is, historically, the boundaries between these collaboration vendors and back office systems or front office systems were drawn by vendors with limited product portfolios. That's the reality. And those siloed systems and limited portfolios by these vendors ended up creating siloed systems, which ended up siloing the organizations that deployed it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to break those silos. We are trying to blur the lines between collaboration applications and front office applications or back office applications. And we're trying to blur the line so that these can be quickly deployed. And that quick deployment is an important part. And that brings me to the last part of the vision, which is about simplifying technology adoption. How many times have we heard about technology being deployed taking extended periods of time? The reality is, today, if you look at majority of the vendors' deployments, sometimes it takes years to deploy some of these solutions. And why is that the case, right? That is the case because you're dealing with disparate products from disparate vendors with disparate technology stacks. And all of these add to the complexity. And whenever there is complexity, it is expensive, it is time consuming, and it keeps delaying the deployment cycles. And what we do is, one of the things we are proud of is shortening the deployment cycles. The velocity of deployment is an important factor we pay close attention to. And we think about that a lot. How do we accelerate the deployment? Well, we can accelerate the deployment by providing the right tools that can help the user to get to a deployment quickly. Because nobody likes, implementing software for an extended period of time if you have a business to run. So getting to use the technology as soon as possible is an important goal. And to help that cause, we develop a lot of tools. A prime example of that tool is one of the tools called Signals. Is Canvas. Canvas is an excellent low-code, no-code tool that we have created for Zoho CRM that will allow you to create, customize, extend your CRM system for your business needs, for your specific vertical. And that is one of the results of our long-term R&D. And this significantly shrinks the deployment cycles for a CRM. Canvas is one example, one of many low-code, no-code, and pro-code tools we offer, as Sridhar mentioned. And all of these help create, extend, and integrate Zoho applications within Zoho or even outside of Zoho. So that is one of the visions where we want to get to creating these applications and shortening the deployment cycles in there. So we talked about three things. One, building unified platforms that can deliver unified experiences. Two, enabling collaboration in this new world. And three, accelerating deployment velocity. And those are parts of the vision that fall in line with the broader goal. So as we continue down this path, there are other aspects that you as a customer like and respect, and they will continue, like being respectful of privacy, or being privacy friendly, being wallet friendly, being customer friendly. Those aspects will continue. And then the number of apps we offer will continue to expand. The technology expertise and the investments we make in technology will continue to deepen. The implementation time will continue to shorten, and of course the ecosystem will continue to widen. All of those aspects will certainly continue. And of course, we believe in bringing this enterprise technology to every single business at consumer prices, and that is what we're trying to strive for. But end of the day, we are a technology provider. What matters is what you do with this technology and how it improves your business, how it improves your life. And that is what matters. And we are excited to see how you're going to be deploying Zoho. And we certainly thank you for all the support, whether you are a new customer or whether you've been a customer supporting us for across decades. We'd like to thank everyone for your continued support. With that, over to you, Taylor.
All right, thank you so much. Great talk, Raju. Very interesting stuff. We're a few minutes behind, but we're gonna go ahead and bring in Marcus from our front row, and we're also going to take a question from our live stream. So it's nice to see you, Marcus. Do you want to introduce yourself and ask your question to Raju?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Taylor, for allowing me to join today's presentation. I'm Marcus Cook, and I support the Marketing and Communication Experience programs for the Capital Corridor. We are an inner-city passenger rail service that supports the Northern California region. Now, my question to you, Raju, I love what you're doing behind the scenes for, so many of our businesses, especially small businesses like ours. One of the challenges that we're seeing are increasing concerns from our customers around privacy. Customers are now being offered more ways to conduct business anonymously through private web sessions, checking out as guests, or even using third-party payment applications. With these added layers of privacy, how can Zoho help businesses reach and engage with customers while remaining compliant with privacy laws?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Marcus. And privacy is at the top of the mind for several users and several companies out there. For us, one of the important aspects is being transparent with the user. And that's what we try to do too, where are we using customer information, whatever they provided us, for the intended purposes, or are we selling that and trying to make an extra buck through other things? And that has been the issue in the industry all along. What we are trying to do first at the Zoho level, we guarantee that we use the information to provide a better service. We are not selling the information elsewhere. As a customer, and as you serve your customers, our suggestion is to basically follow the same way. Be transparent with your customers and let them have exposure to what's happening with their data. And we are going to be compliant. In fact, we are GDPR compliant. We are taking that globally, and we are going to be one of the most privacy conscious organizations for B2B business out there. We will be compliant, and we pass on those strict restrictions and policy adherences to you, the customer. And then there are other aspects where are you respecting your customer data, and I'm sure you are. And that is where it lies in the hands of the business owner and the business itself to respect the privacy of users.
Great. Yeah, that's a great question. Privacy, obviously very important. So now we're going to take a question from the live stream that was submitted, and it's a good one from Deb here. What are you doing to enhance the Zoho One brand so it is perceived by the market as a viable alternative to companies like NetSuite or SAP Business One, two tough ERP competitors, even though they have a higher price point?
Yeah, I think Sridhar partially addressed this one. One of the key aspects of Zoho One is it's an end-to-end solution that all the way from front office, back office, collaboration, operations, and whatnot. And the biggest challenge is integrations, whether it is within Zoho or even third-party applications. That is going to be the biggest challenge out there. And it is going to be, an uphill thing. And some products are significantly stronger than others against some of the competitors out there. And it's a matter of time before we get there. But so far, the directionally, and if you look at the progress, has been extremely compelling. And Zoho One has been adopted and is being implemented by, I think, over 45,000 companies out there, and the size of the companies keep increasing. So it's a matter of time Zoho One gets to serving or competing with some of these, which it is already at this point. But there are a few things we continue to address, like improving the number of integrations, and that's an ongoing thing.
Okay, great. Yeah, so another great question, another good answer. Thank you so much. We're going to have to move on now. So we are going to thank Raju for his talk and for the Q&A. Thanks, Marcus, for the question. Thank you, everyone on social media and on the live stream for asking questions as well. We will try to get to everyone as we go through and answer things also after the event is over. So we've heard from Sridhar on company vision. We've just heard from Raju on the product vision. Now we're going to welcome a few awesome Zoho customers, some of who have been with Zoho for a very long time. But before we do that, I'm going to hand things over to Emily Sloan Pace, our professor in residence, who is moderating the discussion. How's it going, Emily?
Hey, Taylor. I am great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. So yeah, do you want to bring on the customers?
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'd like to welcome our panelists here. The first will be Kevin, and Kevin joins us from Premier Ophthalmic Services, one of the largest ophthalmic distributors in the US, consisting of 15 offices and 3 distribution centers around the country. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me on. I've been to a few Zoholics events in Austin, so it's good actually to be part of one.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. Britt is next, and Britt is joining us from a company called HopeSource. HopeSource is a private, nonprofit organization that moves people to self-sufficiency by providing access to education, employment, economic development, and vital services. Hey there, Britt. How are you?
Hey there, Emily. I'm doing good. I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you. Thank you so much. And last but not least is Bryan. And Bryan joins us from Counterculture Coffee, a North Carolina-based specialty coffee roaster who has also generously provided us the coffee we're drinking today. So thank you very much, Bryan.
You bet. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you.
All right, great. Everything looks good. I'll be taking off. So have a great time, everyone.
Thanks so much. Okay, so again, thank you all for joining us. And I'd like to just get us started by asking each of you to tell us a little bit about your business and what you do. So why don't we start with Kevin?
Yes, so I work with Premier Ophthalmic Services. We're a medical equipment distributor for the ophthalmic industry. So usually when I say that, a blank look comes across most people's faces. So I essentially say, if you've ever gone to get your eyes tested, we supply and service all the equipment that would be in that office, from the manual equipment to the chairs and stands to the high-tech stuff. So it could be anything from a $10 bulb up to a $50,000 piece of equipment.
Wow, a real soup to nuts there operation.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how long have you been with Zoho?
So I was looking back there on it earlier today, and I believe we're with Zoho almost 9 years now, just about 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
we've come a long way.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we're really excited to hear about your experiences. Next up, I'd like to introduce Britt and just ask her to tell us a little bit about her business and how long she's been with Zoho.
Of course. So HopeSource is a 501c3 nonprofit. We're a community action agency. We are based out of Ellensburg, Washington, and we serve assistance in central and eastern Washington state. We work with federal, state, and local grants to provide a really wide range of services, ranging from youth scholarship funding to senior supports. And we also offer a wide range of housing supports to various demographics, including our support services with to Veterans Families Program, which helps veterans in need. And I was looking back, and we've been with Zoho in earnest developing for about 7 years, but I dug a little deeper, and it looks like we actually had our first application developed in 2012.
Wow, that's fantastic. And it sounds like the work you're doing is just really vital and important. So thank you for that. Last but not least is Bryan. Bryan, could you tell us a little bit about Counterculture Coffee and how long you've been with Zoho?
Definitely. Counterculture is a specialty coffee roaster. We are based in Durham, North Carolina, and we've been using Zoho for about 12 years now, and have been in business for about 25 years. So Counterculture sources and imports coffee from around the world, and then we roast and ship it out of both Durham, North Carolina, and Emeryville, California, where we have our 2 roasting and fulfillment centers. We have offices around the US that are kind of coffee hubs and locations where people can come in and learn about coffee, drink coffee, and kind of learn about who we are as a company.
Fantastic. And I do love the name with all of that alliteration there. There's lots of C's. Okay. So first off, we'd like to get to know a little bit more about you. So maybe, Britt, could you tell us about what you feel is really important about the work that you do?
It's a great question. I think it's really the direct impact that has on community members. I should say that that has to be the most important aspect. We work a lot, of course, with systems here, and we're talking about Zoho as a system itself. And sometimes you don't always get to think about the human aspect that goes with it. But with the applications that we've developed through Zoho, it's more of a lifeline to community members. So when somebody's out there in crisis, regardless of kind of like where they are and when they need help, thanks to kind of the applications that we have, they're able to reach out immediately for need, and we're able to reach back, which is, of course, the really important part in that connection. And just to kind of talk about the impact of that a little bit more, I mentioned that veterans support program we have. And thanks to that funding and our applications we've developed through Zoho Creator, we were actually able to end veteran homelessness in our community. And that makes us the first county in Washington state to end veterans homelessness.
That's astounding. That is really amazing. And yeah, I'm super grateful to hear about that work. Bryan, would you share a little bit with us about what you find important about the work that you do?
Yeah, I mean, counterculture was really founded on obviously a love of coffee and getting great tasting coffee across the US. But what we've really become focused on is transparency and sustainability. And counterculture released its first transparency report 10 years ago, in which we really opened up all of our communications around how much we were buying for coffee, how much we were selling it, and started a dialogue around what fair wages are for, or fair prices are rather, for the coffee we were buying. So really, in being at a company that starts talking about those things, we're able to impact better prices, better communication around it. And obviously, like, it's very good coffee. And so the more we're able to purchase, the more we're able to sell. And like we lead the specialty coffee industry in how we're paying for our coffee and how we're talking about it.
Neat. I really appreciate that emphasis you're putting on kind of equity. And yeah, that's really fantastic. Thank you. Kevin, would you share with us some of what you find important about the work that you do?
Yeah. Well, thankfully, I didn't have to follow Britt there. She's doing some amazing work. But it's really with us, as I say, we supply and service ophthalmic equipment, but it's providing that seamless customer experience. One of the main important things we do is we keep a lot of practices up and running. So if their equipment breaks down, we've service technicians in the field to make sure those businesses, whether they be small or large, are basically able to service their patients and keep that input and output flow of patients coming through. One of the bigger issues we've had in the past before using Zoho was obviously when that equipment breaks down and having that quick interaction. And oftentimes it used to be the customer would be phoning our office and would be phoning technicians and chasing technicians, where are you? And normal kind of stuff. So kind of using Zoho, we built out a customer portal where a lot of our larger clients have all their equipment tagged. And when they want to report a service case or have an issue, they simply scan a piece of equipment, describe the issue, and hit submit. That immediately would populate into our system, and it would immediately notify the technician in their area. So we're able to get to them a lot quicker and obviously give them more valuable information about all the equipment they have across. Some of our clients might have 300 locations. So they'd be able to get a high-level view of all the equipment they have in operation, what is being serviced, and all that kind of stuff. So it's important that, I mean, we're keeping a lot of businesses kind of ticking over and getting to them as fast as possible.
Fantastic. And as someone who went to the eye doctor yesterday, I definitely value, the ability to see and have that medical care. So thank you. So I would love to hear from each of you a little bit about what your customer journey with us has been like, sort of what your experience, both working with Zoho and growing your business over the years you've been with us, what that has been like. So Bryan, can we kick off with you?
Yeah, so when we moved into Zoho, we started with the CRM app. And primarily we were moving out of doing our customer account management through emails, notepads, shared spreadsheets, and we moved into a CRM software as we really started to grow out of our home base and out of North Carolina. We roast and ship out of this facility, but we have satellite offices throughout the country. And so communication between the teams was critical, and adding in the CRM to the mix just gave us that one centralized place where we can store obviously customer info, but also communicate between teams, communicate between departments, and really start to make better decisions and move faster as a company. We used the CRM for, I guess, about 8 years before we moved into the Zoho One platform. And really since then, we've started adding in apps that are doing similar things to other parts of our company. We've implemented Zoho Desk for our customer experience team. So for all of our inbound and outbound customer requests, we're using that ticketing software to communicate back to the CRM and throughout the organization. And most recently, we've really adopted Zoho Analytics to have just better insight on all the moving pieces of the company. So CRM was the bulk of what we were using for a long time, and now we have really started to adapt and grow outside of just that one application.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Kevin, could you tell us a little bit about what your customer journey has been like with us?
Yeah, similar to Brian, we started out in the CRM. Before we found Zoho, I think there was 3 employees, but essentially we were going around and everything was run on Post-it notes. So when we jumped into the CRM, it was really just to manage our contacts and accounts. And then slowly we just added on different modules from our service cases to quotes, sales orders. And then over the years, once Zoho One come out, we kind of jumped on there. And on a daily basis now, we probably use 12 to 13 apps all integrated just on a daily basis. But it's just a fantastic kind of platform in general. And it's one of those things that really our whole business runs. Every aspect of our business would run some type of Zoho One app, whether it be from service to messaging, communications, to our finance team.
Fantastic. Britt, could you tell us a little bit about your journey with us?
Of course. So when I started with the organization about 7 years ago, we really only had one very basic kind of application. We just had no logic, no nothing, no really development on it. I mean, it was good, and we just did some capture because at that time, I don't think we really viewed it as anything more than just a data capture or, for one specific program. And then slowly over the years, it continued to develop into something a bit more. As we got new programs, we started to have more conversations where the question popped up, well, is that something Zoho can capture, or is that something we can do in Zoho? So over the years, as we've got new funding requests, it slowly turned into, again, going from just a simple data capture to exploration into, okay, if we have this and we need to capture this information, can we build it in Zoho? And more often than not, the answer was yes. So we began to expand it out into different funding programs. So over the course of the time, we went from, again, just one or two basic applications into what is now a multiple plethora of applications that capture everything from, again, clients in crisis, like I mentioned, for the SSVF program or the Veterans program, to the youth scholarship applications. Parents can now go online and actually apply for assistance for the children in the community. And it's also, over the course of the time, transferred into internal applications as well. We've started actually doing some of our internal applications around goods received notices and financial applications actually built through Zoho. So it's neat to see, 7 years of just this, again, basic entry capture to now it's pretty much integrated in every part of our organization. And it's become a huge part in satisfying grant funder requests when we have to look at data capture, or when we're applying for new funding. We have a lot of information that's in Zoho that we can say, hey, we have information and demographics on the people who really need help in our community, and we can use that to apply for greater and continued funding.
Wow, that just sounds fantastic. And I love that you sort of said that a question that you pose to yourself is, well, can Zoho do that? And that the answer kind of tends to largely be yes. And that's just fantastic to know about, just kind of the extensive breadth of possibilities that there are with the products, either individually or together in the Zoho One suite. Kind of maybe shifting gears a little bit, could you tell us just a bit about what the pandemic has been like for your businesses and some of the challenges that you've faced? So Britt, why don't we pick up with you again?
That's a good question. So, over the course of the pandemic, I think no one will disagree with the fact that it's been a very rapidly changing environment where you really don't get to predict what's coming next. And that played into a huge role for us when it came to funding coming down to kind of counter the economic impacts of all the closures due to COVID-19. So in our communities, we suddenly had all of these new funding sources coming down for demographics that weren't traditionally reaching out for assistance. So we had to come up with very quick ways to make sure that we could get that assistance out to the people who need it rapidly. And for us, that meant developing new applications in Zoho Creator, adding new questions. Thankfully, in Zoho Creator, it's very easy to go in and add a new question on the front end, and then distribute it to the community so everybody can get online or text, wherever they need to do to get their information to us. And then on the back end as well, we suddenly had to track new requirements, new funding sources. These populations that weren't traditionally coming in for assistance and help, who are now presenting themselves, we had to kind of adjust and figure out, okay, who is coming in, who needs this help, and go from there and kind of build on to the back end as well. So, quickly adapting that data collection on the back end was just as important as really getting it out to the public on the front end as well with those applications.
Mm-hmm. So really that kind of ability to be very nimble and flexible and just like that quick deployment was really essential for helping you guys continue to be able to offer the great services that you offer. Wonderful. Bryan, could you tell us a little bit about what the pandemic's been like for you all in the coffee business over there?
Yeah, I mean, the coffee business it was an interesting shift. Counterculture sells to a couple of different channels, one being wholesale, which sells coffee to restaurants and coffee shops, hotels, things like that, who use coffee as an ingredient. And, essentially when the pandemic hit and everything went into lockdown, that business just took a really big hit. So we saw a reduction in what was going through wholesale, but we saw it shift over to our grocery and our e-commerce or our B2C market, where people were still buying coffee from counterculture, but just in different forms and different venues. So very similar to what Britt was talking about, we had to adjust and we had to really be nimble of how we're supporting our customers out there. And we did a lot, obviously, from home. A lot of our remote team was going into the offices to train people and to work with coffee, and that shifted to a lot of video calls, remote learning, things like that. But Zoho really helped us with that, of understanding, again, with Desk. We had implemented Desk right around the time of the pandemic. And so we were able to really understand, with a giant influx in our B2C market, what those issues were, where they were coming in, and how we could kind of address them. So it really shifted a lot. It's the same kind of business, same kind of issues in different areas that changed every day for us.
Wow. So it sounds like, that ability to kind of, shift gears and move into different channels or shift working spaces for many of your employees was, a challenge for you and many businesses, but that, these tools were something that enabled that to happen as smoothly as one could hope, given the backdrop of a global pandemic.
They definitely helped us understand what we were up against better. It gave us visibility on like where things were happening and where we needed to shift and focus.
Yeah, and that visibility is what seems just incredibly essential if you really want to be on top of just business, just seeing where all the moving parts are and where the bottlenecks are, and what anomalies might be coming down the road. Definitely. Great. Kevin, how's the pandemic kind of informed your business over the last year and a half?
Well, it's interesting because it's really completely different industries, but really it's the same themes that come up over and over. We needed to be nimble. When everything shut down first, for example, on our selling side, our website, we used to get maybe 5, 6, 7 orders in a day, and we had somebody just manually populate them into our system. So as part of some of the equipment that we supply, it would include, say, breath shields, which would be considered PPE. So once we started marketing those, we went from 6, 7 orders into we were getting 200 and 300 orders a day. So we saw that kind of come, and then within a day, we were able to, using Zoho Flow, integrate our website e-commerce platform. It populated into our CRM, which was used outside for our operations. When that shipped, then it went back to the website and updated the website to notify the customer. So it was a seamless experience, which is really done overnight. But on the supply side, again, supply chain issues are huge. We used to get equipment shipped within 1 or 2 days, and that's stretched out now to 6 or 7 months. So we had to essentially 6 or 7 months or more ago, you're shaking your magic 8 ball and kind of forecasting what you're going to need. So using analytics, we were able, with our partners, Zenata Consulting, they built out basically a report for us that would forecast when goods are arriving, but also based on what sales orders we have in the system, when customers are going to need them. So it's really allows us to see into the future, but see those problems kind of months ahead of time and notify the relevant people or shake whatever tree you need to shake to find more equipment. But it's that being able to quickly adapt and solve issues. And that's the one huge thing that Zoho has always provided us, is that ability to solve really any problem. And similar to Britt, as most of our problems, it can be solved with Zoho, but essentially we always think everything can be solved with Zoho. If you're creative enough, it can. Sometimes it takes time and resources, but it is an amazing platform that really, as I say, we run our business on.
Wow. Well, thank you for such an endorsement. And, it sounds like those kind of tight integrations and just the fact that the software is really talking to other pieces of software in the suite is really essential for creating that seamless experience.
Yeah, it's that really, and again, it's the conversations that we have. So internally, we wouldn't use email at all, but we would use Zoho Click and the notes in the CRM, but it's always that contextual conversations that you're having. Each of our reps would have sales support channels. So again, it's just that amazing tool. And it's one thing we say here at times, it feels as if we're building the plane in flight, as we're always constantly developing and iterating. And I think for a lot of people, a lot of changes can be really disheartening, but it's just those small iterative changes that have happened over years, and it has evolved our system and how we nearly operate as a company, from Post-it notes to what we do now.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. And I love that, notion of fixing the plane mid-flight or developing the plane mid-flight.
Not recommended for some.
So just for our last question here, I'd just like to note that you guys have been with us for a really long time. We are in our 25th year celebration this year. And, we think we've come a long way. What are some of the things that you would hope to see from us over the next 25 years? So Kevin, let's turn back to you.
I think, I'm not sure if Zoho were working on a car at the moment. Maybe they could go up against Apple. And if SIA, I think, seriously, it's a lot of the stuff that we do is just interacting with data. We're pulling data, pushing data, manipulating data. But it's really the amazing things in the future that might come up, that if you are sticking on your glasses and talking to a client and you get all that contextual information that's right in front of you. But I wish I was smart enough to predict 25 years into the future. Sometimes I struggle to get to the end of the day. But I think Zoho, on the road and journey they've been on so far, is amazing. And if we can hang on to their coattails and get dragged along, we'd be more than happy.
Thank you so much. Bryan, what about you? What would you hope to see from us in the next 25 years?
We, just like Kevin, we also work with Zenata, the consulting group. And I think one thing that both working with them and with Zoho that's been wonderful is just always adapting to our needs. Zoho has always they've always had the solution for us, but they've always kind of listened to us and helped fit it into our business. So I think, as we look forward, we're always adding new softwares to our to counterculture and to like how we're adapting. So continued symmetry between what we're using with Zoho and what we're using outside of Zoho is already good, and like just continuing to build on that would be great for us.
Great. Well, hopefully we can meet those requests. Britt, what would you hope to see from us in the next 25 years as you go on to make the world a better place?
I think just continued advancement of the Zoho Creator platform. It's been awesome over the past years because, of course, as we've looked to do more, there always have been new advancements. So it keeps developing and going forward. So that is amazing. I hope that just continues on. And then as anybody who works in a nonprofit or a social services agency and out-of-the-box case management software, just all that amazing data capture that we're able to do with our Zoho Creator applications, seeing that on a wider range is something that would just be absolutely amazing, and solutions that you could offer to other organizations that maybe don't have as much development knowledge or have systems that don't do the accurate data capture that they need. I think Zoho does a fantastic job, and we need to have one of those applications that you can just hand up on a platter to those social service agencies.
Well, hopefully we will be able to help you power your mission here with some of our great technology, and I will be sure to pass along the product request onto the respective teams. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time, and most importantly, for being our customers. So thank you so much for that. Now I'm going to throw it back to Taylor and let him wrap up the show for us.
Yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Brian, Britt, and Kevin for the great discussion. Yeah, I really like the idea of building the plane as you're flying it, just hopefully not while you're on an actual plane, I guess, you know. But yeah, so thank you, everyone, and we'll see you later, and we'll go ahead and start wrapping up. And as we start wrapping up, we're actually going to bring Sridhar back on. Bring Sridhar back out to just talk for a couple more minutes and start giving us his goodbyes here. So take it away, Sridhar, for a couple minutes.
Thank you, Taylor. And I was watching the customer session hosted by Emily, and I want to thank all of our customers who are part of that panel, and I want to thank all of you for being here today, and also being part of, and you heard these customers, how long they've been with us. And that's been the foundation on which Zoho has been built. It's your trust in us. That's been the foundation for our own growth and success. And we want to thank you for this 25 years of continued patronage. Your business means a lot to us, and particularly during these times when our ability to invest in R&D to help you directly comes from our continued customer growth. From our side, we'll pledge to stay on this path. I want to assure our customers, I see a lot of questions here. We'll get to it, and we'll respond to you online. And I want to pledge that we will continue this mission. And we have a demographically very young company still. I'm one of the oldest members now, but we have a very young company, and we have employees who are very eager to serve and learn and serve customers. And we are growing. We are actually hiring about 2,000 new people this year. It's crazy to think about, just about 6, 7, 8 years ago, the entire company was 2,000 people. Now we are hiring more than 2,000 people in a single year. And all that is possible only because of you, customer. And I want to thank all of you for this, and we will continue this journey. And I hope to meet all of you soon in person. So thank you, and namaskar, India.
All right. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Sridhar, for those great words there. And we're going to go ahead, excuse me, and wrap things up. I just want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank you, of course, to the Zoho team for all their great work behind the scenes to make this happen. And as Sridhar mentioned, to everyone who asked a question or left a comment for us online, whether through the live stream chat or through social media, we'll be following up with you. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.